What it do? A humble soul. We checking back in, man. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit that button for us one time. And if you're messing with the content, make sure you hit the like button as well. Drop a comment and all of that. But yeah, I just wanted to put something up about Mac, man. Formerly on No Limit Records, he was an artist that joined the roster in around the mid to late '90s, and he released a couple albums on the label, man. The most notable was his debut project on the label, which was actually his second album, but his debut on No Limit Records. It was entitled Shell Shocked. Unfortunately, at the height of his fame, really right around the time before he was about to make his transition from No Limit, he found himself in a situation that changed his life forever. In February of 2000, his family had arranged for him to perform at this club in Slidell, Louisiana, which is not too far from New Orleans. So he goes to the event. He shows up at the club. At first, he's just chilling. From what I understand, sometime after midnight, things start getting a little rowdy. And before he was able to go on stage, man, this fight breaks out. So it's this big scuffle on the club dance floor, like a hole in the wall spot. And eventually, some shots go off, you know, but at least one shot goes off. And that's when Mac, who was strapped, when he went to the club, gets low, pulls out his pistol, and has it up, like facing the air towards the ceiling as people are scrambling by. So he eventually gets up. Then he starts looking for his parents, looking for his mom. When he heads to find his mom, he still has his pistol out. So you got to think, it's chaotic. People are running after the shot goes off, and they're seeing him with this pistol. So it's looking like, he's the person who fired the shot. And as they're exiting the club, it's somebody laying on the ground on the floor right there who's shot. You know, so if you put two and two together, if you don't know what's going on, you're gonna look at it like, okay, he has his pistol out. It's this guy on the floor. He has to be the person who shot him. Eventually, man, Mac's able to round up his people. Somebody was trying to perform like CPR or keep the dude alert while the emergency assistance was on their way. They were able to transport him to the hospital. He was a 19-year-old by the name of Baron Victor Jr. But he ended up passing away. He was shot in the arm and it traveled to his heart. So Mac and his people they go back to Baton Rouge, which is where he was staying, and a lot of other No Limit people were staying at the time. They were staying in Baton Rouge. They had moved outside of the New Orleans area to get away, but still be somewhere close. So he's chilling at his spot. There's multiple other people there, his family, bodyguards, etc. And law enforcement shows up. They're looking for him. He's a person of interest. They want to talk to him about the shooting that took place at the club. And they search the place. They find a couple weapons and all that type of stuff. But, Mac agrees to go down there and be interrogated, but he doesn't bring a lawyer with him. So he went without a lawyer. So they go down there, they interrogate him. They say that it's multiple witnesses saying he's the person who pulled the trigger. But he denies it the entire time. He's like, man, I didn't have anything to do with it. But he lies as well and says that he didn't have a firearm on him. Eventually they lock him up. He's locked up for about a month, I believe, before he can have like a bail hearing. They deny his bail, his bond. So he's still locked up. And around this time, one of his bodyguards who was at the club that night comes forth and admits to being the person who fired the shot that killed the 19-year-old, Baron Victor Jr. Believe it or not, they let him go after he confessed. They let the bodyguard go, and they kept Mac. They didn't let him go. Mac just thinking like, man, okay, he came forth, he told the truth, I'm gonna be out of here. But that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? And he still didn't get a bond. He's still locked up. And the following year, in 2001, he took his case to trial. He was found guilty. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison. He has to go away and serve that time. So obviously, over the years, he made attempts to, plead his case, appeal the sentence, apply for clemency, etc. And it was actually witnesses, multiple witnesses, I believe at least 5, that came forth and admitted to lying, giving false testimony because they were, in so many words, threatened or coerced to do so. Also, something worth pointing out, man, is during Mac's trial, his lyrics were used. Like some of the lyrics from his popular song, probably one of his most popular songs, man, "Murder, Murder, Kill, Kill." The prosecutor recited lyrics from that song and during the trial, to paint him out as this villain. He kept bringing up, Mac's alias, the camouflage assassin, and all of that, man. Paint him out as this bad guy. Where really, this was the first time that Mac had ever been arrested. He didn't have a criminal history. He wasn't a troublemaker. He was just somebody making music. And he was found guilty and sentenced to 30 years. Brings you up to speed, recently Mac was granted parole. And then, like, a few hours later, he was actually released from prison in Louisiana. So now he's a free man. He ended up serving more than 2 decades. I don't know if he's going to jump back in the music game or not, but he's always been one of those people that were respected, for their lyricism, on the No Limit roster. He's been called like the New Orleans Nas to a certain extent, if you kind of think about just how Nas is, how intellectual he is, and thought-provoking he is with his music. It's kind of similar with Mac, man. But shout out, salute to everybody checking in, man, and rocking with AHumbleSoul, taking their time out to click on the video, listen, share it, all of that, man, is greatly appreciated. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do so ASAP. If you're messing with the content, hit the like button. You want to grab some merch, man, check out the Teespring, the links in the description and all of that. It's your guy Lewis checking in. Until next time, I'm going to holler at y'all, man. 100.